Hi guys, and welcome back. And a couple of good questions. So we're really going to talk about like half marathon prep. I had someone who's new on the half marathon space, doing an extension to our house. Well, hopefully soon. And so I just had a meeting with the architect for an hour. That went on a bit longer, so you might hear me like I'll try and move the yoke away if I'm having a drink of tea. Got my ginger and lemongrass ready to roll there. Uh, oh, okay, that's something different than I thought it was. Um, okay. Um, yeah, that's fine. All right, so let me try to multitask there. Okay, so what we're going to talk is about marathon, and we're going to talk about like posture, poor posture. The main thing is going to be marathon. So, I'm just texting about one of the people for the half marathon when it is on. Okay, so first thing question we got was um oh, sorry. Very first questions I have. Do I need more than one pair of running shoes? So some background. I'm a cyclist predominantly, but also running for a half marathon in April this year. And now I'm training for the Dunlin, but I imagine that's Dublin Marathon. I got a good pair of Saucony shoes, but I've already over 500k in them. Should I get another pair for training? I hear that after 7 to 800k, shoes start to fail and lose effectiveness. What do you think on this? I'll try to tune in live, but listen back. Thanks for any advice. Okay. Laurie actually does a nice thing. If you have issues, is having like two pairs of shoes rotating. We do that as well. Like I'll have a pair for running like normal runs in, and I'll have a pair then. So I do a lot of running, obviously. So I'll have a pair. I have a pair for normal running. I have a pair then for workouts. And then I'll have a pair for racing. And the pair that for workouts and the pair for racing are basically they are the same. They're the same shoe. I would definitely get like if you're doing the Dublin, I would definitely get a carbon fiber plated shoe. That just like it just makes it's just such a disadvantage now if you don't have those. Regards the 7 to 800 kilometers, yeah, that's generally a thing. I never go on that. Just as a by the way, I generally you generally feel them. They start to feel a little bit dead. Um, but I've had some runners that have lasted way longer than that, and then other runners that for whatever reason, like I start getting like little my shin or whatever starts to get a little bit sore, or um, my calf or feet or hip. Like I just start to feel like yeah, I'm not really moving as well, and if that starts coming in, I will then change. I'll change the runners. Yeah, but then if that's not happening and I feel still getting like return or bounce on these and I've no real issues, I'll keep the runners for a bit longer. So yeah, I they do say that after 700-800 meters with the sponge and all, it doesn't bounce back as quickly, but I just do that off field. Sometimes you might have a pair that will last you a lot longer than that. Other times you'll have pairs around that. You'll start feeling like you're picking up little niggles or you're not moving. You just feel a bit dead, and changing your changing your shoes then are good. If you like Sauconys, I would stay with them. But if I was buying another pair now, I would look at getting. You can get Sauconys with like a carbon fiber plate in them. They have nylon plates. It's definitely something that does a similar effect. Yeah, so I think if especially if you're getting ready for a Dublin or a half, I'd be looking at getting like a specialized pair, even if it meant I was wearing my normal running shoes for like say 1,000 kilometers or 1,200 kilometers, like trying to like really dog them out longer. The other thing is like I have a friend he's going through now. He runs 80 miles a week, so 120 kilometers a week. So he's going through shoes maybe every 5 6 weeks, but the way he lands kind of jutting into the ground a little bit. So it's just literally the shoe kind of wears a lot more. So it depends on your wear pattern. I hit quite normally, so I never they're not wearing in particular. So yeah, I generally have a tendency to wear them for longer because like I wouldn't change them at 700 or 800 just for the sake of it. Like if you're not feeling worse in the shoe, keep it going. And if I was trying to like save money, in terms of like, look, I only want to buy one pair, I will like keep your Sauconys for longer, and then that would allow you to like afford the kind of carbon fiber plated shoe and use those for your workouts just to get used to them, and then have them for race day, and that make the biggest difference than buying a new pair of training shoes. I hope that makes sense. Okay. For this week's call, would it be possible to get advice on exercises about open up the shoulders and correcting postures? I've always had a bit of a hunchback posture, and I was back with a physio last week, first time in 2 years since I was pregnant. This is my fourth pregnancy, so each time it's gotten worse. Said my C7 and L4, L5 are really bad, and if I don't work on it, it'll eventually catch up on me with bulging discs. Tournament head will be very sore. Okay. Is there something you'd have online to help with this? Yeah. So I'm just going to share the screen, and I'm just going to go, I'm just going to go to, not groin rehab, let's go plans. There's a few places, but injury rehabs would probably be the most. Generally, what we're going to try to do is opening the upper back up is going to be the big essential thing. Okay, so getting you moving through the upper back a little bit more. Don't squeeze the shoulder blades ever together. It'll really ruin the way your shoulder blades move. I learned that the hard way. Like when we were in college, it was like, oh yeah, squeeze the shoulder blades together. I started doing loads of that at the end of a push-up, and I absolutely messed up my shoulder. I couldn't sleep on it for about 3 years. So take that's advice learned the hard way. So in shoulder rehab, even though it's shoulder rehab, a lot of times with the shoulder, if you are hunched, the shoulder blade doesn't like fit nicely on the upper back, the thoracic spine. So it doesn't glide. It's like if you're hunched, it kind of becomes a little bit more unstable. So I would do this shoulder mobility. Let's go into this for a second. So it's just working on that upper back. So key thing here is you're tucking your chin in, and this, I don't know when this is taken, but it's like my hair is the exact that disheveled look. So basically, you're just, when you're to the side, grow up tall through the top of your head and tuck your chin in, and that essentially will allow all the alignment. If you do nothing more than like tuck your chin in, and from the crown of your head, like grow up tall, you'll see the differential. Like, so from here, if I tuck my chin in, how that kind of levels me out straight really nicely. Then the other thing is we just want to, as I said, get that extension back. So we want to, physically force that here. So I'm rolling up and down. I'm trying to arch over the foam roller as I go here. Then again, chin is tucked in, so your eyes are looking down. Your eyes can't be looking at the ceiling. Just tucking the chin in, growing up tall. And that's going to help open up that upper back again. This will be getting a little bit more rotation around the upper back. And again, this one, eyes will look straight down, so neck is nice and long. And we're just practicing like lifting through that upper back. One I love, I do this every morning. I have like a little like inverse row machine, like a little row machine. But it's this one. I need to do a video of this. So like you can do it with a T-Rex row or a bar or anything. So you're going underneath the bar, squeeze your bum, so you're up a level, and then you're pulling your chest up, and you're not squeezing anything, but that's going to really work the upper back muscles and open up. And that's really good for shoulder health. I do that, like I do 12 of them every morning. Every gym I do in a gym has that in it because I just find it so good. If you don't have that as an option, working on those upper back muscles. So this is a nice one, like tucking the chin in, turning the thumbs around. So getting that chin tucked in, turn the thumbs around. And it might be just picking like 1 or 2 of these to just do in the morning, or if you're at your desk, You can do these as a little micro break if you're like constantly hunched there. And then this one, just like, you know, your Superman row is a super helpful one, keeping the belly button in and then rowing. Now, again, it's just to get the muscles around the back and shoulder stronger. So you might do that one. And then again, I love my like shoulder band exchange, never like squeezing the shoulder blades together, but you can see keeping that neck nice and long and lifting through that upper back just allows that rotation and everything to kind of sit back to where it should be. Because especially as we get older, what you want to make sure you're doing is you're not losing the capacity to do it. I know sometimes we get like we get bad habits and we forget and we're getting stuck in them. But you can see, you know, you see really old people and like they're physically nearly like the joints are nearly fused into that position. So like they wouldn't be in that position if they had the strength, if they had the ability to like get back out of that position. And that's kind of what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to like open back up. So you know, getting those things stronger, but like just physically move into those positions without completely losing it will allow you, you know, your body will work it out after that. You know, micro breaks and stuff like that during your day. And we do have that, which is, I need to do this again. It's just that like tucking the chin in and pulling in. I'm going to do that video again. Another one just for shoulder health, but again, keeping the upper arm in line with the body here. But again, you don't need to do this one for the posture. But if you are doing your single leg deadlift, it's also, rather than letting that arm hang and that rounding, if we have that arm in line, upper arm in line with the body, again, it's just improving that posture that we're doing. Okay, so yeah, I hope the mobility stuff, the shoulder add-ons like the rotational and pulls through, and then inverted row, they're all ones that I would do to improve. You'll fix all your posture by just tucking your chin in and growing up tall. Like that will kind of knock everything else in line. So just practicing that movement, like tucking the chin in, not like looking down or anything, just like moving it back. You can see the differential that does. So I'm all hunched. If you lift one, it's like this cogwheel approach. So if you change one, it just changes the other one below, which changes the other one below. I'm just like holding that position for like a minute, then relaxing and trying to hold it. You know, if you're having a boring conversation, maybe you're just listening to me rabbit on, do it, and then you can you know, at least you're like, well, at least I'm working on my posture when I'm talking to this guy. Okay. Yeah, so I think all those things will really help. I think they'll help more. There's a few other stretches you can do, but to be fair, like much more than the stretches or the exercises, just like you just do not want to lose the ability to actually move. Like, so when you're here, you just want to don't lose the ability to get into those positions. And then doing that regularly will just really, really help. Okay, had a really good question about the training from someone. So a half marathon training. So just a little bit of context. Sorry, did that make sense there, Laurie or Teresa, on the posture stuff and on the shoes, just to make sure that we're all right there?
Yep. Sound pretty clear to me.
Yeah, and I always like your one, Laurie, of like just rotating shoes. You rotate what, 2 or 3 pairs?
I've got 3. I have 2 for sort of longer type ones, and then I have a speed one. And then I have the carbon ones, but I rarely use those unless I'm doing something
Yeah, just dial them
really
in.
speedy.
Just
Yeah.
dial them in. Like if you know you have a race on in like say 5 weeks, start like introducing them maybe on week 5 out, week 3 out, and week
Yeah.
1 out, and then yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah.
And I use different brands, which I think actually makes a difference too, because
Yeah.
the lasts are different, you know.
Well, that's one thing I had. I've gone to the SL2s, which are lovely and like I really love the runner, but they're very chunky. So I'm actually going to start rotating back in with my Pegasus, which are smaller. I feel like they'll make my calves work a little bit harder. So yeah, I'm actually going to
Yeah.
start doing that as well.
Actually,
Uh,
that reminded me of a question. Sorry if I could ask
yeah,
about shoes. I was just thinking about this the other day because you know how I've been having this glute med problem, right?
yeah,
And on Thursday I did like a 60-minute run and it was just fine. And I'm thinking, yay, I'm back, you know. And then on Saturday I had 65 minutes and the last 20 were really hard on it. And I started wondering, like I was wearing a squishier pair of shoes, like more cushioning. And I thought, could the extra cushioning be requiring the glute to do more stabilizing? Like, could that be why it was aggravated, or was it just volume? Like the fact that I did another 65 2 days after the 60. But like the 60
yeah.
day,
I think it might be the volume more than the
yeah,
squishy shoes, that way.
okay. Which then leads me to like another quick question, if you don't mind. It's on
Yeah,
training as well, because I was looking at your training plan versus what I do. And the one that I've got, they've sort of set it up for people over 50, kind of, well, women over 50 in particular. So I noticed that yours has 2 kind of workout type sessions per week. And then where you
yeah.
say easy jog, I don't know how long the easies are supposed to be, but in mine, I only have 1 workout session per week, but then I have like 3.5 hours or so of easy running in the other 3 sessions. And sometimes I
You
wonder,
only
well,
run 4 times a week.
yeah, I mean, right now I've been doing 3 just because I've been working back up because of the glute
Yeah,
thing, but normally I run 4 times. So Tuesday would be like the session that would be intervals or hills or something like that, something speedier. And then on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would have like an hour and a half kind of thing. And I'm wondering would I be better off with? Should I be like, would I be better off doing 2 more workouty ones but shorter and maybe less long volume, or like I don't know
yeah.
what's
I like
the
that
middle
just for
ground.
bang for your buck. Like the other
Yeah,
thing I like is that so it's kind of like a hybrid. So,
yeah.
and that's going to come to the stuff that we're talking about, where so when we're saying 2 sessions or 2 workouts, it's not like why I like going for 2 there. It's just in general. It's just just the bang for your buck. Like, I
Mhm.
feel if you're running 3 times a week or 4 times a week, you have a lot of other, and you're like, well, you have your 3 days, you have 3 easy days, so you recover from the session. But you're ignoring it's not a 4 day week. That way it's a 7 day week. So you're resting the other days, or you're doing gym.
Well, I
So
have,
yeah,
yeah,
so depending on, look, your one might be slightly different, Larry, where because you're doing gym sessions on the other days.
yeah, like I do Pilates Monday, my interval or hill type thing Tuesday. Wednesday, I do a strength class. Thursday, I do an easy run and a high intensity strength, which is shorter, like more bouncy kind of stuff like plyo.
Yeah.
And then Friday would be a rest day, and then Saturday would be an easy run, and Sunday would be a longer easy run. And I usually swap those actually. I make the longer one on the Saturday and then do the Sundays the shorter. So it might be like the Thursday run might be an hour. That's the one that's combined with doing the high intensity plyo type strength. And then the rest day Friday, and then Saturday might be an hour and a half, and Sunday might be an hour. And then
Yeah, like I love that as it were. So why that works, Larry, is that works for you because you're getting like your gym days. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
um so why I like that where you're filling that in, because if someone heard that, they might be like, oh well, I do 4 runs in the week and I might do Pilates, but that's all I do then. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Whereas like you're getting nearly 2 more kind of high intensity days, so adding another running workout there probably wouldn't work, you know.
Okay.
So just what you could do, like it's just about like fluctuations. It
Mhm.
could be like, well, like 8 weeks out or 10 weeks out, I'm gonna hit like a 5K or 10K, time trial for you, or if there's any race, and you
Yeah.
might be like that second high intensity gym will go, and I'll put in a workout there, and then I'll go for a less intense, gym. So you'll have Pilates, gym, 2 workouts. One will be an aerobic workout, one will be your kind of interval based workout, and then your
Yeah.
easy running. It just depends. I like
Yeah, the way the thing's set up is every third week you drop the Wednesday strength and it's a down week, so the volume is a little bit lower. And then every sixth week you drop both extra strengths and the volume goes down and there's a time trial.
yeah, like I always say, yeah, like you're not look. I tell that story about like there was a woman who wanted to get ready for a marathon. This before I was even doing the sample trainings, and she's like, "Would you do me a program?" And I said, "Yeah." Like I knew her, and like she came in with her initial our initial program, and it was like she was doing our Pilates, and she was doing a kind of interval session with the Fit for Life club, and then she was doing a run, then kettlebell session, then
Mm.
like a bike rest. And I was just like, I must have spent at least 2 weeks trying to convince her not to do the marathon. Do you know, I was
Yeah.
like, you have such a nice, again, she was like, say, a lady, I would say 55 maybe at the time I was talking to her. I was like, you just have a lovely structure to your week here.
Yeah.
Like, do you know? But she's like, no, I want to do a marathon. I want to do. So then you do. And I was like, well, like just by the nature of it, you're going to have to run more. So what I'd say to you, Laurie, is your program is if I could get everybody just to do that. Now I'm a devil for this myself. Like I know, I know, like I'm just on a bit of a downtime now. So I'm doing gym every second day and then just running. And that's maybe one aerobic kind of run and no other sessions just because of my downtime. But I know like that would be better for me long term.
Yeah.
But I
Because
just
it
love
seems,
racing. Like I love
yeah.
doing well in 5Ks, but that won't let me do my best in a 5K, if you get me. So like it's the same for you. It's like I could definitely make you run faster in those 5K time trials, but would you be healthier? I don't think so.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I just sometimes wonder if those longish, like when I get to the hour and 15 type easy runs, like they seem to wear me down. Like, maybe I'm doing
Yeah,
them
well
too fast.
that's where sometimes I like, and I'm literally gonna that's so funny. I literally going to talk about that now with the because I got a really good and guys, like if you're following the plans, like to say the Final Surge plans, we message you weekly, which is great. Like just get a thing, and most people are going well. But like you won't ever like hurt my feelings if you want stuff clarified or putting stuff in and saying this. Like that's what it's here for, to talk through. So um yeah, like I would sometimes I like rather say you're hour 15. I like doing say 15 minutes like of an easy jog with some stretching and strides. So you're still getting like that little bit there, but it's not hard. Then like say if you're doing say we start off with like 3 by 7 minutes with 90-second recovery. So it's 3 to 5. Zone three, like you'd be surprised how easy that the first one might feel a little bit fast, but when the heart rate's up, it'll feel easier and then a cool down. So like within 60 minutes, you'll get like much more done, but not that intense because you've had the little break. And it's like it can be better stimulus. So yeah, like you could try that, Larry. It could be a thing of like, let me um you could throw it out to me. I could show you where I would just change one of the like the hour 15, for example. I might just do 15 minutes of a warm up and then 3 by 7 minutes at zone three, which is just kind of marathon pace with two
Okay.
minutes recovery.
Okay.
So 2 minutes easy jogging or walking, and then just 15 minutes really easy cool down.
Because sometimes I feel like it actually feels better on the muscles to be
It
able to
does.
go a little
Yeah.
faster, and that's why I wonder if sometimes that's why I keep hurting my I don't know, like today when I was doing my Pilates and I was doing that side lying series, and the leg abductions and pushing leg back was sore, but
Yeah.
I've been weeks getting back from it, and I thought it was fine. I did this one longer run that felt
Yeah, I do feel that. I feel like sometimes I've done that myself where, I had a hip kind of, I thought I had a hernia kind of thing. And it was just on long runs. Like it was all great. And it's like once I get past, for me, say 90 minutes or up to 140, I was like, you know what? I could be done with these. I can do the
yeah,
sessions fine. And I don't feel, sir, for 5K or 10K, it's adding crazy benefit. But it's like this is when
yeah,
everything starts to get like that bit achier for me.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
I can get this volume on a Wednesday because say if I warmed up for 15 or 20 minutes, but then I'm stretching and getting things moving and I'm lifting my knees again with an easy
yeah.
jog back or a few strides. Yeah, so could be worth trying out. Let's just get
Okay,
back and then yeah, I think I definitely try it for 6 weeks. Like what's the worst gonna happen?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Don't
let
say
me
that.
get cracking the 19th of October. Yeah. All right. So this is okay. Oh, thanks, Jill, for that question. All right. So I won't say who this is, but again, you won't hurt my feelings putting in these things. Based on my experience, I'm not so sure about doing hard anaerobic sessions like 400 meters as part of a fairly long run the day before the actual long run, as I'm used to seeing example pace sections as part of the long run every other week, but not this type of strategy. Okay, can you please look at my comments for details? I'm fairly certain it's a guaranteed road to injury for me if I do sessions like last Saturday, the day before what is supposed to be a long run. Okay, this is perfect, right? So this person's getting ready for a half marathon. They had like a proximal hamstring tendinopathy. They were going to do a marathon and they've dropped. So they were going to do, I won't say what marathon, but say an October marathon. And they've dropped back down to do a half marathon, which I think was, we just kind of discussed that. I thought like, look, let's not try fix a proximal hamstring tendinopathy and try gear up for a marathon. So she was able to get into the half marathon, and then she's doing our final surge training, which I'm going to share now. I'm going to use someone different just so I can use someone. Let me see who I use. She don't want my major. Okay, so for example, some of the sessions that we were thinking about are this one. So it would be like, say, lactic and 10 by 400. Now, based on that, right? Now you can put in notes afterwards, just to let the person know. When we do it, right, this is important. Let me go to the workout builder so you can see. And there's a video explaining the workouts with all of them. So just watch that, because it will kind of me just talking through it. But I'll just go into the workout builder, right? Okay, so the way this works is it's say 10 minutes. This is a really good one, because just to clarify this for people, this bit should be done not on, we just put zone 5 because it's not heart rate based. And you do mention that like you said that like it's not to be heart rate based, but to say like this one is there should be like a target of, let me see where the other target is. Or maybe I need to change that. There needs to be a target of like 10K pace. Okay, so don't go too hard on those. So if for anything that I have VO2 max, the intention is not to get your heart rate up to that. It'll actually be impossible to do it. I nearly should put I nearly should put that lower for people, and I might actually change that around in the plans, because your heart rate won't get up to it. Why I put it at zone 5, and normally there's another, we can add like, say, pace. I don't know why it's here. Usually it was here, where it's like a pace, and a secondary thing is like pace rather than heart rate. So basically, don't worry about your heart rate on the 400 meter reps. You're dead right, because if you try to go flat out like on those 400s to get your heart rate up to like zone 5, you're gonna injure yourself. This isn't all out. This is like rhythm work for a 10K. Okay, and it's 10K effort. So that should be slower essentially than your 10K pace. But the fastest I want you to go on this is working out what like your 10K pace would be, or your 10K, yeah, what you think you do a 10K in now, and break it down for like 400 meters. Or if you don't have a track, just do 80 seconds of what feels like 10K feel. The heart rate, because you're getting a minute recovery, will be roughly in the high zone 3, low zone 4 for that. But I don't want you thinking I need to get my heart rate up to anything. It's just like, forget heart rate when the reps are slower, reps are shorter with a recovery in between. The heart rates just won't make sense. The heart rates won't work out. They need to be like 5 minutes, 10-minute things. So you did right, and then it's a finish with here. So the idea with this one is kind of what I was saying to Laurie a little bit. So this person had done a marathon, had like that high hamstring tendinopathy. The idea being that we want to work on their my idea with this plan then is I want to work on getting like less of the longer stuff that they would have been doing. So like a lot of focus is on the long run. As you said, she's saying here that like normally it's like big focus on long runs for marathons and maybe doing a bit of work in the long run. But if that's the stuff that's kind of flaring up the hamstring, doing a little bit of speed or turnover, but just don't focus on speed. Be like, as I always say to Laurie, it's like intentionally try go slower on these reps. Like 10K max, max is your max speed. Don't take the VO2 max. They need to put in heart rate zones, but don't take it. You wouldn't even get into that. Most likely you'll be in zone 3 for a lot of that. Why I didn't want to, why I put in the pace rather to focus on the pace rather than the heart rates and put it as zone 5 is I didn't want to, if the heart rate goes up above zone 3 or zone 4, like say towards the end, that you feel like I need to slow down. It's not that. If the heart rate's up high, it's grand. If the heart rate's lower, it's grand. You need just to focus on actually hitting the pace. Now, one thing though, definitely that you could do is, and we can switch it around, or I'll just exit out of this now for 2 seconds. Okay, one thing we can do is, rather than, I hate this where the Sunday is on the Saturday, but rather than, having your session, as you said, and resting here, if it's possible to do a workout on the Friday, you can take an easier rest day on the Saturday and then do your long run on the Sunday. Or maybe you have time on a Monday, so you might do workout Saturday, easier day Sunday, and then your long run Monday. Why I do them back to back Saturday, Sunday is people are generally have more time. So you feel like that they can kind of recover. Like I had someone during the week ask like, I'm training a load of teams on the weekend. So should I be doing my workout at like 10 o'clock at night? I'm like, no, like, are you free on a Friday? Now he still has to get back to me, but like, we'll just change it around. Like there's nothing magical about Friday being a rest day, for example. You might have it that you have more flexibility during the week and you're super busy with teams or with kids on the weekend. So what we'll do then is that we'll just make front loaded and rest days, a rest day here and an easy day on Sunday. And then we're doing back into it during the week, So don't be afraid, or you just message me if, if it suits more to do these on other days, So say maybe the workout, you can do it on Friday. Maybe you work from home, so you can take a little bit of an extended lunch break, do your workout or session on Friday. Saturday can be an easier day, and then Sunday can be the long run. Okay. So I'm used to some pace sections as part of the long run each other week, but not this type of strategy, which is our strategy is workout Saturday and then long run Sunday. Okay. Yeah. So I think two things when you're saying, if there's a session that's lactic plus 4 by 10 by 400, like do it at 10K pace or effort. I'll always have a video attachment there. And don't focus, same with the hills or any stuff like that. Don't focus on trying to get the heart rate up or doing those as hard as you can. Okay. Just more focus on good form, feeling good, looking good, feeling easy. As I say, like if someone's looking at it, it's like, geez, they look very relaxed and they look like they're moving, so don't feel like you always feel like you should be able to do 3 or 4 more reps. Okay. Yeah, that, and then I'm always thinking you have Saturday, the rest of it to kind of recover and you know, if you want to do well. Oh, and again, so I know you probably have a good reason behind it, so I just like to understand the reason, but also I don't think this approach will work well for me, as I will get injured. I'm also nursing the high hamstring tendinopathy. As I mentioned before, I'm struggling to get the high paces, e.g. 400s, without irritating it further. Yeah, so the thing you're doing wrong there, or has just been miscommunicated to you, is trying to run those 400s hard. They should be at 10k pace, which isn't that fast. Okay, so and 10k of what you would do now. Like, so even if you did them at like half marathon pace, so not like what your best 10k was, you know, 3 years ago or whatever, like what you feel like I would do a 10k right now if I had the race today on this track. So if that's a 50 minutes, just work out like, well, if I divide that by like the 20 or 25 essentially, what does that give me for a 400, and just run that for the 400s. I see there's no speed this week, but there is one on Saturday, the day before a long run. Is this correct? Looking at the speed session, it's prescribed as interval session 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's in the, but it looks programmed in as a 3 by a mile effort. Yeah. So the following week is a long run workout. I don't want to be critical. And again, as I've made decent improvements, I can make decent if I feel like we just need to get the kind of alignment. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so like to be fair, look, we're trying to get a quasi base between, like, obviously if you get people like, if I'm full on coaching versus this trying to give people the best plan, you can get more detailed. But this is then this workout session is in the workout. So again, these shouldn't be too hard. These should be like maybe zone 3 kind of pace into zone 4, or zone 4 pace into zone 3 pace, back into zone 4 pace, roughly. Like, it's just something in the middle of a long run to feel like 2 sets of this, that we're picking it up and then slowing it down. Okay, that's the idea behind it. It's just like just a little pickup when we're, and then so we're running faster when we're tired. Yeah, I was looking to do 10 by 400 meter repeats in the middle of a long run. Okay, it's not in the middle of a long run. That's also this session, guys, which I was saying to Larry, for example, that's a 12 to 15 minute warm up and drills. Okay, so it's jog for 10 to 12 to 15 minutes. It's do your stretches and strides. Like if you go to plans, if you want to see the one I do, but you might like go here, you'll see the warm up routines. This is the long run. This is like just a minute or two just to show you what's involved. I'll just show this one very quickly. Jesus Christ, is that the way that goes? Okay, so, you know, rolling your ankles, a little bit of a stretch on the calf. Okay, I'm going too long. Yeah, stretching, grand, Then a couple of like dynamic stretches as you're doing your high knees, and then a couple of A skips. So you just do a few things to like loosen out, improve your running stride a little bit. A couple of high knees, then quad stretches as you come back. And again, the other video talks you through it rather than just showing you. Sides, groin stretch, a couple of easy strides after at the end, just to get ready for the session. Okay, so you can take a break, like a glass of water or whatever then, right? Then you're starting your, say this one, for example, is a different session. It's 2 by 5 minutes at zone 4 with 90 seconds recovery. Then 2 minutes after the second one to recover. Okay, the idea behind this is you're getting, so this person's getting ready for a marathon, but you're getting like 12 miles of work done, but it's broken up a lot. Okay, and then because that comes to the next point then, right, is so they tried, very disappointed to have a 31% execution score. That must be on Garmin. As I said, I wouldn't worry about that. That's taking that off the zone 5. I might actually just reduce those to zone 3s. I just put that up because I didn't want to, like, sometimes it'll start beeping at you if you're like below the zone. But yeah, maybe I need to put that away because you won't get to zone 5. It's just to say that you're in the more, once you're at zone 5, don't worry about heart rate, just worry about feel. I really do have questions about trying to reach my max heart rate during 400-meter reps. And I can see that because it's on VO2 max, but it's like there should have been a pace thing there. So that's mostly my error. Don't do any reps lower than like 2 minutes should be just on feel and never on pace, or never on heart rates. It's not enough time to get the heart rate into an actual zone. And you said, I did hear you say that you can't really go on heart rate on shorter intervals, and this is also my opinion. Yeah, I did mention to you before, I'm going to run this intense on the day before my long run, and then yeah, so we can go to Friday, Sunday. I don't think it'll be as big a deal as you said. My long run is tomorrow, and it's max 90 minutes at zone 1. That's a recovery run zone. Please don't get annoyed at me asking a question on your plan, but I do have a few questions as I completed 4 marathons and trained for 5. So I've seen a lot of different proposed plans for half and full marathons, and I do read a lot. However, I've never seen an approach like this. I just like to understand this strategy. Is it a strategy you've seen work for lots of people in long distance running? Yes. It's like, this is going to sound, maybe I'm delusional. The way most people do it, this does sound delusional, but the way most generic, and I'm not saying this like because my generic plans, we've had people who, like my friend James, who I get a lot, James Eddingham, he had like a couple of athletes go, and the whole lot of everyone was like, you haven't done enough of your long runs. And they did way better than everybody else because there's an over focus on the long run, as we'll see in a second. So like a strategy, a lot of them is like, do get your distance up a lot and then maybe put sessions into the long run, which we did see, like say the long run session is the next week. But sometimes I feel like just people are doing kind of marathon pace long runs like all the time to kind of need to get ready for it. It's nearly this thing of like doing an 8K time trial to get ready for the 10K. It's like, not the top runners. Well, some of them do it for the marathon, to be fair. Some of them go kind of hard. Yeah, so is it a strategy you've seen run for distance running? Yeah, it is. I'm kind of getting mixed up with what is actually my long run. To be honest, I've added a few minutes to the end of this run to make my long run. So no way I'll be able to do 90 minutes tomorrow. And even if I was at zone 1, that would be very little distance. That's the thing, right? So when you're doing, when you're doing, say, for example, on this week, you're covering 12 miles. Now, if you're going to do a half, like you're nearly there. Now, I know you've probably done extra, but say, for example, let me just go in to see how you actually did this. I can't see the, look, I'll try go into that to see if it'll break up. I'll go into your Garmin in a while. Say you do your 15 minutes and you're covering like 1 mile or 1.5, and then you do the stuff in the middle and that covers say 6, and then you do, say, even if you do 20 minutes at the end, so you do 12 miles here, that is essentially like you're nearly at the distance that you're going to have to cover, and you've done half of it at like a good pace that's improving the aerobic. So like your long run, you only did an hour, say you get 5 miles. What you're trying to do is you're building up your tolerance, like kind of when you're tired. I know you're thinking like, well, if I did another half hour, which was kind of you're meant to do. So say if you do 90 minutes here, and it's like, well, 90 minutes is only covering say 7.5 miles at my pace. This was the workout today. And like what you've actually covered is not the distance. What you're getting used to there is the time on your feet, so that we'll build that up. Like that'll be to 140, but max I'd be doing is 2 hours, because while in the half marathon, you're thinking like, I'm not covering the distance. That's why people go harder on their long runs, which, sorry, again, I'll just share, which we'll be doing. Say when we can do kind of progression, we'll be doing progression runs built in. The other thing with your plan is what is this? August. Yeah, sorry, you're going to have another plan that's going to bring you down towards here. So we're trying to just get used to like a little bit more speed running, because you're going to do two halves. You know, like as I said, it was like I'll do one as a kind of training one. So what I don't want to do is start ramping serious distance. I don't mind if you're undercooked. You know, if you're going to do two runs back to back, with the second one being like your big run, you don't actually want to be really aerobic. Like you don't want to go really aerobic here and then try to hold that for the next, like, say 6 to 7 weeks. We need somewhere to run into. But in general, the principle of this is, if this was here, that's fine. And then you can have a rest day or cross training, be ideal. And then you can do a long run. But don't worry that your long run is only like 8 miles, because you've got your kind of workout for that day. Now, the next week, you'll see this run is only like, say, 70 minutes, because in the long run of 90 minutes, there's work in the middle of it. So you'll cover, you'll be covering probably, like, based on this, you might cover like 10 miles in this. Like say you did an hour 35 and you cover 12 miles. So you might cover 10 miles in this when you do the session in the middle, when you're running normally, and like 10 miles at 90 minutes, like you're not far off there. So say, for example, if the half marathon is going to take you 2 hours, the thing that people get wrong is we're using the long run really just to get used to like time on your feet. So a lot of people, right, they wouldn't do this run and then they'll do this at like kind of a nothing pace. It won't really be like half marathon pace. It'll be a little bit slower than that. So it's not really working the aerobic engine. It's getting you used to that like longer pace. But you can do that with just, if you're getting up to 90 minutes here when you're tired, you're developing that aerobic base in the recovery stuff. And then that's allowing us to get ready for like a session during the week again. And it's allowing us to get ready for a long run. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there for a second and listen to see Teresa or Laurie if that's half making sense there.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Maybe discuss strategy of hard anaerobic sessions. They're not hard. Okay, so yeah, we did do a hard hill session. She just mentioned that. I would have imagined very long periods of zone 1 wouldn't be the best for running. I'd say, sorry, I'll just finish off the rest. So okay, I do feel that many in the group might have similar queries. Yeah, I saw a few messages. So we had people who we did early on the half marathon block that people were getting ready for. We did a hard hill session. I probably would stay away from hill sessions if you have a high hamstring tendinopathy. They can like kind of compress it a little bit. Coach on Tuesday sessions is confused. That's what you're talking about here. Maybe discuss strategy of hard anaerobic sessions. So that hill session was, I think it was 12 hills. It's a lot more hills than they're used to. The idea being that is take a little bit longer recovery just to get used to like turnover. Because if you're doing a marathon or half marathon block, as you get on, you naturally have to do a lot. All your sessions will be geared towards the marathon. So if I can, at the start, I'm going to just put in a little bit more turnover so that we're kind of, the idea of running longer, it doesn't feel like we're sprinting at that pace. Yeah, and again, we can, like, if someone's just asking, like, just on that, like, say, what is this idea? If I was able to do a zone 1, be very little distance. Hoping I'm not a question. Not at all. And like it is tweaking it for people to see what they like. It could be a change in day. I would say, like, for the most part though, just keep the faith. I know you've done it this other way, say 4 marathons. So it's worth a change up to see how you get on. like that slow, steady plodding, there's a few things you need. I always say for a marathon or half marathon, time on feet. That's what everybody gets right. You know, I need to get up to my 18 miles or 20 miles. But really what you're getting there is that, like, getting up to 3 hours. So if you're out for 4 hours, it doesn't feel crazy. So for a half marathon, if your half marathon is targeted at 2 hours, once you've got your long run up to 2 hours, you're laughing. Now you might be like, well, I've no long run for 2 hours. You're doing 2 half marathons back to back. So I actually don't mind if the first one, especially because you have marathons done, I've done it that you're doing more workouts and the long runs are 90 minutes. So it's like an easy jump to 2 hours, say for the second one. So when you do that first half marathon, you'll have a week, nearly a complete week off, a real down week, and then you have a shorter break, which we can start hitting into like building the long runs up with more like half marathon sessions. The second thing, so that's the first one, time on feet, that you're worried about. I won't even worry about the distance that much. It's more the ability to feel like when I'm out for 2 hours, it's not crazy, and take your gels even on this easy one just to recover. Second thing then is it's an aerobic event. Like, so if your aerobic system is more developed, you will do better. Like, so that's what, like, the 10 minutes of aerobic, or when we're doing like 3 to 5 by 7 minutes, like the thing I was saying to Laurie, like just doing that aerobic stuff for 4 by 6 minutes at lactic threshold, they're kind of all those, like, they're building the aerobic base that is the engine that allows you to run faster for the distance. And you could see when we looked at that session, say when you have 12 miles done, it's like, well, you've done, say, essentially 2 miles easy as a warm-up, got a big block in the middle of like 6 miles normally of work, which is like half a half marathon, and then 2 miles easy. So that's, say, like a 10 miles of work. I would not do, you have like 12, I wouldn't be doing adding on to that. That's the session, and like adding on really long extra runs isn't the way. I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, look, I'll make this my long run, and now at least that's like 12 miles, which is a good long run. But you're only doing a half marathon. Yes, it'd be ideal to get up that long run, but if your pace is very slow, like you gotta kind of accept where you are. And I'm thinking this is definitely the best way, and it's adding way more tools to your toolbox than you have of just like slow, steady plodding, essentially, is what you do, or like slow, steady running at a certain pace. And I do that and I build that up every week, and that's the one that's getting better, but you're developing nothing else in the week. And I get it, when you're doing something new, it can be scary because you're like, Jesus, am I going to break down? But to be fair, you have an injury already from the stuff that you were doing. So it's not like you're like, look, I've got super results and I'm super healthy and it's weird that you're sending me this way. It's like you're coming in with an injury. But yeah, like there's tweaking of knowing that when we're doing the shorter intervals, they shouldn't be flat out. And that could be because it's down as VO2 max heart rate, but don't look at the heart rate there. It's just purely, that should feel easy. There's no session in a half marathon. The speed stuff should all feel easy. And if it's not feeling easy, you're going too hard. And then that's the last one, is like the 10K running economy. Like 10K, 5K running economy is like, the half marathon's only double the distance of a 10K. So if you can't run at 10K pace, when you're going to try to go out and run at half marathon pace, it's going to feel very fast. Okay, it's going to feel fast. Whereas if you have a little bit of that rhythm and you've done like the minutes of that or 2 minutes of that, or, when we put them into the session, it's like you have more power that like running at half marathon pace will feel like, oh God, this doesn't feel super fast because I've got used to some kind of 5 or 10K effort in there, not pushing super hard, but just like a faster pace than I intend to go on the half marathon. And then you're running and you're like, okay, that feels okay. And then during it, when you're doing it, because you develop the aerobic engine with those sessions, as opposed to just going out doing the kind of easier run, we've really targeted improving your zone 3 and zone 4 like aerobic base, you're able to stay going, and then you're in, and say you're doing a 90-minute or an hour 45 or a 2 hour half marathon, then you do your 2 hour half marathon. It's like when you're an hour 40 in, you're like, well, I've done 2 hour runs before, and I have like, I'm used to, cause you've done a session and into a 90-minute long run, I'm used to being like, my legs are being a little bit sore and achy, and I'm used to running, feeling that and easing my way through it. And we're doing zone 1 there. Maybe you can go into zone 2, but definitely no more than that, because it is aerobic recovery. It's like getting used to being able to run and like clear all that. So yeah, I thought that was a great question. I love getting questions like that, and I love people like tweaking. And it's not to say that we can't tweak things, but I think definitely let's stay the course. I'd even say, the other thing as well is like, you're going to be doing a half marathon, say at the end of September, but you got to remember your kind of A race half marathon is at the end of October. So, or like in the middle of October. So you gotta, that'll be like a practice race essentially. So again, you mightn't do as well in that. But look, let's see after October, and then I think it's easy to go, look, I tried that and it doesn't work for me, I'll go to something else. But I'm confident it will work. As long as you stay healthy and stuff, like, which you can't always be guaranteed of, but like, yeah, like we can't just build in, ramp everything, only focus on that thing that a lot of plans do, that like just slow, long build. Like, it's like we're doing a hard long run, and then everything else in the week is just like redundant. The fact that you have a longer base that we can do, kind of get ready for a race or skip it, as we talked about, get ready for the second one, means that we can develop different elements. And I think the only thing that we were gotten confused with was, and because it was down as zone 3, that you're like, it's not about trying to achieve max heart rate there, it's about being a rhythm, being very light. Your heart rate really will actually only be at the top of zone 3, bottom of zone 4, because I've kept my heart rate on doing those type of sessions. For that, it won't be higher than that, because you're getting a minute recovery after him. The idea is just to get comfortable at that slightly faster pace. Jesus. Now, glad you asked that. Great. Hope that made sense to everyone. If you're going out, or is it ramblings of a lunatic? But we'll see.
No, it makes sense to me anyway, and I think I'm not on the plan, but I could definitely incorporate it into my own training.
Brilliant. Yeah, just as I said, it's just, and I had one or two who were like, if you're feeling a bit flat or dead, it's really a good idea to, so say rather than doing like 4 by 7 minutes, do the first 2 7 minutes at zone 3, and then do the next 7 minutes as like, like 3 or 4, even like skip the next 2. So let's do like 7 by 1 minute at like 10K pace, and not like a hard 10K pace. Like, go to a track and measure it. You'll be surprised how slow, or how after 1 or 2, how easy 10K pace feels for like 1 minute. Because if you think about it, if you're doing a 10K in 50 minutes, it's like 1 minute of that. It's 1/50th of the race, where people have a tendency to sprint or work too hard on the shorter stuff. And that's not what it's about. It's about the rhythm of it. It's about the rhythm of it. How are you thinking of incorporating that into yours, Teresa, then?
Well, it's more when I'm it kind of like the long runs, because I used to just do, all my long runs slow, but it's just trying to put a little bit of speed, not necessarily sessions, because I'm still kind of recovering from an injury. So I've kind of been avoiding any interval work or speed sessions or anything like that, but just trying to keep the runs not super slow.
Yeah, you can. I do that sometimes, and just shorten up the long run. So say if you did a long run of say if you're used to 90 minutes of a long run, the second week you can just do like say 30 minutes in, just do like minute on, minute off, like just little small pickup, a little bit slower for like say 10 by a minute. So that's say 20 minutes of it. And then maybe
Yeah,
finish off, or maybe do 40 minutes, 20 minutes of that, and finish off with like 20 minutes easy. So like just reduce it
yeah,
down to 120. You'll probably cover the same distance as you would the 130, just slow and easy. And it does allow that little bit of a a change up.
Yeah, no, it kind of makes it more interesting as well. I was actually going to ask you on, I have a half marathon the end of September, but I've also signed up for Dublin Marathon in October. But
That's
my
perfect. Yeah.
foot is, it just doesn't seem to be healing. I've I've been away on holidays for the last 2 weeks and I'm kind of back, but it's still sore. I've been to like two physios since I had marathon in March, and I've been to two separate physios, and I just don't know if it's getting much better. And I'm kind of up to like I'm past like I think my last run on Saturday was like 24K, and it's pretty sore afterwards, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of icing and stuff like that, but I'm like, God, it shouldn't be this bad this early on in the marathon training.
No, yeah, look, sometimes those injuries can, let me just show you one thing. Try, right, let me see here. If your foot is sore, sometimes, right, that muscle on the front, just try release that off with your hand yourself, like the muscle on the
Okay.
front of the shin. It can kind of attach into there, and then go to the hamstring plan. And if you go into the hamstring release, you'll just see this, just this can sometimes, that top joint can get a little bit jammed.
Okay.
Noel Sugrue is very good. Wait there, I'll show you this one. I mean, right there now. Sorry, I'll be just 2 seconds. Trying to find this. Where would I put it?
I don't really think about my hamstring when my foot is sore, but
No,
yeah,
it's
it
not.
probably
It's not
makes
the hamstring I want. It's this other one. There, 2 seconds. Here. It's just in behind the fibular head. Don't need to. Yeah, here we go. Knew it somewhere. Hamstring rehab one. So you go put your hand behind here.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that
Yeah,
exercise
and then
now.
just push it. Because sometimes, like, if that's jammed up there, it can kind of jam here. The other thing then, though, is if it's been sore and you have health insurance, I would probably get an MRI on the foot just to see if it's a stress reaction or something like that. You know, if foot things aren't coming right, unfortunately, it can be that. At least if you know it, it can be quick. So I'd release that muscle off that I was saying. I'd push in that one.
Yeah,
And then if it wasn't coming right, I'd maybe just get an MRI just to outrule it, you know.
I got an MRI on it, not this January, the January before. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
kind of how long this is kind of going on. But you think maybe just get another MRI?
Yeah, just to check. And even then, especially if you've had it, they'll be able to see is there any like changes to it from the last MRI.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, I think I might just do that because I've got another marathon next March, and that's the marathon I really want to focus on. So I'm kind of like, should I continue training for Dublin, or should I just leave it now, or just give it another week or so to decide?
Uh, I don't like two marathons, kind of for the reason I said it, for the same reason that other lady is kind of, I'm not saying freaking out, but is just getting a bit worried. She's used to doing marathons. What happens is your training gets very, very samey. Um, so yeah, if it was me, I would be looking at canning this, getting the foot healthy,
Yeah,
look at like even a half marathon or 10K, but just keeping the run to keeping your long run an hour and a half up to 2 hours max, you know, like just keeping that within striking zone. And then say if you've worked on like 10K pace, you've got the foot a lot healthier, then we can kind of um hit that like say 16-week block nicely. I know like last year you did Dublin, didn't take much of a break, and then you're straight into
yeah,
the prep.
yeah,
It's just a lot on the body where it's like if you can come in like, you know, fresh into like when you're actually trying to hit it, it can be better. Now, I know other people argue like, look, some people like doing their two marathons monthly, but again, especially if you're coming in a little bit banged up, that's what that other woman I was chatting to, we decided. She was like in with an injury and then trying to build through to a marathon, and then yours is even worse because it's like you're in with this kind of injury that's persistent into a marathon, but then that's not really the marathon I want to do. So I'll take
yeah,
like a week or two
exactly.
down, and then I'm going to be building. It's just a lot, like, isn't it?
Yeah, I kind of can't feel like I can't really do the interval work. I have to do I want to do the lactic threshold test, but I'm like I'm kind of holding off doing that until I get my foot right, because I don't
Yeah.
want to do more injuries to that. So yeah, I kind of feel like it's frustrating at the moment, and I kind of feel like if I give the ticket away for Dublin, I might be just less pressure, and I can actually focus
Yeah,
on getting
I
this
think
better.
that's definitely the right. Like, look, I had my foot, like I had a stress reaction in my foot, as people kind of, well, maybe you didn't know, like last year I was doing. You'll see some of those videos on my limping slightly, commitment to the cause, because I was like, well, this be a good video, good exercise, but I was like banjaxing my, just with a stress reaction, I was like kind of half limping on it, but like I did a really good 1500, was getting ready for nationals. My foot, like, just because I wasn't used to spikes, flared up slightly. And again, I've just taken my downtime now, as I was saying, like that. Even though I wanted to do a few more races when I was in shape, I was like, look, better now. I'll just run. Took like, if I were you, I'd probably take a week off running, just do some cross training in gym, Pilates, and then day on, day off for another like week. That's what I've been doing, just to try give the foot like time to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that's better. I definitely give up the Dublin marathon place, because then you can, like, it allows you to be clear on, like, now the goal is let's get healthy, let's get back doing intervals, let's get back being fit and healthy, and
Yeah.
not
Just enjoy the training and not be worried every
enjoy the
run is
training,
going
and then
to.
like then we're
Yeah.
fresh going into a 16-week block,
Okay, no, that's perfect. Thanks. I just needed to hear a professional say
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just to hear someone else. You kind of know yourself, and I'm the exact same. That's why I have a coach, because you just need like someone to kind of give you the advice. Like I went for a run with Brian, my friend, and he was like, "Man, what are you talking about doing this race?" Like, where it's big, like in your head. You're like, "No, but it'd be great to do it." And he's like, "No, look, grand scheme, you won't think about it." And I didn't after. So no, I'd say the same. I'd give away that ticket. Take this as your downtime, a couple of weeks now, and then target a half marathon or a 10K even, but you can get your kind of intervals in and get the foot stronger and use that as a focus for the first month, and then build in fitness in September and October, and then a little bit in November, and then like having a down week, and then building in. It's like, okay, now I'll do my 16-week block, getting ready for an Easter marathon.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for that, Owen. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant, thank you. All right, well done, guys. See you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Owen.